So we are now together. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good evening and welcome to our international book launch. It is an honor to have you all here. My name is János Szilágyi. I'm the project manager at the Institute for the Integrity of Creation at Pázmány Péter Catholic University, and I'm your host for this wonderful event. Firstly, I would like to invite Reverend Professor Laurent Újházi to deliver his speech. Reverend Father, please.
Honorable Charge d'Affaires, Mr. Palladino, Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear authors and illustrators, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Laurent Újházi. I am professor of the Pázmány Péter Catholic University and Ludwika University of Public Service, and I'm also the head of the Research Institute of Protection of the Integrity of the Creation. It is my distinct privilege to greet you all today, also on behalf of our institute. We are gathered today for an occasion of particular joy and profound significance. While the launch of a children's book is always a hopeful event, this one, I believe, speaks to some of the most urgent and complex challenges of our time. The theme that brings us together is creation, care, creation of the creation. This concept transcends mere environmentalism. It is a profound ethical framework which posits that our relationship with the natural world is indivisible from our social, economic, and moral lives. As Pope Francis articulated in his encyclical, Laudato Si, we are not living through two separate crises, an environmental and a social one. Instead, we are confronting one complex crisis, which is both social and environmental. The two are inseparable. This is the principle of integrity of ecology. Laudato Si compels us to recognize that we cannot address the degradation of the soil, the water, and the air without simultaneously addressing the structures of injustice that affect the vulnerable. We are called in the encyclical's powerful words to hear both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. This is a call to mend the broken relationship between humanity and the planet, which Saint Francis of Assisi called our sister and mother, who now cries out to us because of the harm we have inflicted on her. This principle of integral ecology is the guiding mission of our institution. Hosted by the National University of Public Service, our institute is dedicated to academic and scientific study of this complex challenge. Our main research project examine critical issues such as environmental security, sustainable water management, and the legal and economic frameworks for a circular economy. We foster high-level dialogue through international events and conferences. We have been deeply honored to welcome eminent leaders to our discussions, including His Eminence Cardinal Michael Czerny, His Eminence Cardinal Peter Turkson from the Holy See, and His Holiness Economical Patriarch Bartholomew. And we disseminate this knowledge through our academic publications. In this work, we are particularly proud of our strong and ongoing collaboration with partners from the United States. We have had the privilege of hosting outstanding American speakers almost every year, and we continue to work and publish jointly. A prime example of this fruitful partnership of our volume, Serving Out of Love, which explores the charitable activities of the Catholic Church. But during our 5 years of research, it has become abundantly clear that this high-level academic work and policy papers, while essential, are not sufficient. To truly address this crisis, we must engage in a wide-scale societal sensitization. We must find a new language to convey the deep message of our Judeo-Christian culture regarding our connection and responsibility to the natural world. This is especially true for the next generation. Pope Francis writes in Laudato Si that our educational efforts will be ineffectual unless we strive to promote a new way of thinking, and that we must learn to stop and admire something beautiful. This is where art and literature become indispensable. This book is a vehicle for that new way of thinking. It does not lecture on the technocratic paradigm or a global inequality. Instead, it plants the seed of wonder. It teaches empathy. It does what policy papers cannot. It aims for the heart, which it prerequisite for all meaningful and lasting action. In our current global landscape, marked by division and conflict, the striving for peace is paramount. But sustainable peace requires a common ground. It requires a shared understanding that transcends political and cultural borders. The language of integral ecology, the language of caring of our common home and for one another, is the common language. This is why the translation of this beautiful Hungarian story into English and French is so important. It is an act of cultural diplomacy. It allows this simple, powerful message of wonder and responsibility to be shared, to build bridges, and to help us all, children and adults alike, learn and speak this universal language of peace. It is a great privilege to see this work launched today. I thank you all for being part of this hopeful and essential endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Father. Now, I would like to invite Professor Károly Pintér, head of the English-American Institute, to give his speech.
Mr. Palladino, Chargé d'Affaires of the United States of America, dear János Lackfi, the author, dear friends and guests. My name is Károly Pintér, and I'm the chair of the Institute of English and American Studies here at Pázmány Péter Catholic University, where I happen to teach American studies, by the way. And it is an honor and privilege to say a few words on occasion of the international book launch of János's fairy tale book. He's an old friend and a former colleague of mine. He used to teach at the French department of Pázmány Péter Catholic University until he decided to, how should I say, brave the waters and strike it all alone as a full-time writer. So he's a brave person, an adventurer, I would say. So I haven't read this volume yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be as edifying, as entertaining, and funny, because János is a brilliant poet and a story writer, and when my kids were small, they really enjoyed his children's poems. They had a lot of fun with them. But I haven't come here to praise János. He needs no praise anyway, because he's one of the most famous contemporary writers and poets of Hungary. I've been invited to say a few words about Pázmány, this university, who is the host of the Institute of Creation Protection as well. So Pázmány was founded in 1992 with papal approval around the already existing College of Theology, which had been part of the State University of Budapest until 1950, when it was severed from it by the communist government of Hungary at the time. So in 1992, it was the Faculty of Humanities that was first created. Then it was followed by the Faculty of Law in 1995 and by the Faculty of Information Technology in 1998. And one among our earliest partners was a very reputable American university, Notre Dame University of South Bend, Indiana, one of the largest and most famous Catholic universities in the United States. I think it was partly due to the founding dean of the Faculty of Information Technology, Professor Tamás Roska, who used to teach at Berkeley, and he had excellent professional connections to Notre Dame. But the Faculty of Humanities also greatly benefited from Notre Dame through primarily Nanovic Institute of European Studies, which founded an organization called Catholic Universities Partnership, specifically to assist the brand new and still fledgling Catholic universities in Eastern Europe, in Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Croatia. So this partnership has been going on for 25 years at least, and I hope it's going to continue for a long time. Dozens of faculty members had the opportunity to visit Notre Dame, including my humble self. I spent a semester there as a Nanovic fellow, and I had a great time there, as I'm sure you had too. So, but our American connections are not restricted to Notre Dame. We have had partnerships with the University of San Francisco, with the Catholic University of America, etc. So now that our institution has reached the age of Christ, we are 33 years old this year, we are hoping to expand our professional ties and international connections further. So we are honored to welcome the Chargé d'Affaires of the United States at our modest event and are grateful for the attention of the United States Embassy. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor. Our next speaker is our closest partner in organizing this special event and representing L'Harmattan Publishing. Thanks to our close partnership, we have published 11 books in the last 1.5 years. Please welcome Mr. Ádám Gyenes, Director of L'Harmattan Publishing. It will be Hungarian if I like. Okay.
Köszönöm a lehetőséget.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Tisztelettel köszöntöm.
It is a wonderful honor and privilege to welcome the dear guests. With special regard to the Chargé d'Affaires, Mr. Palladino from the United States of America, and also the author János Lackfi. I have had the privilege of working with him before. Right now, it's not just the L'Harmattan publishing house that I'm talking about, but on behalf of this building as well. This building has been all about disseminating knowledge ever since 1955. We are working really hard in the last 20 years or so at the Kossuth Club to bring about as many programs that can open the eyes of people to issues and problems which should be examined with scientific care when it comes to environmental protection and the understanding of environmental issues as a complex problem is of utmost importance nowadays. There are lots of great experiences, lots of different impacts channel people towards academia and scientific approach. Kossuth Club is seeking to take this approach as well. We are firm believers of well-grounded scientific knowledge dissemination. We organize many different programs, as part of which we provide information to younger and older people as to what results have been achieved by the different research activities and what kind of a future we can picture for ourselves. This is how my work, the Kossuth Club related work, connects with my work at L'Harmattan. I have been publishing books in Hungary for 25 years. We are the Hungarian affiliate of the French L'Harmattan. The first volume that we published had the title Climate Change in Hungary. There were predictions that we would become a desert between the Tisza and the Danube. It is indeed the case. There will be less precipitation, extreme weather will take place. It has all incurred, which means that we have to take care, we have to pay attention to these issues. And our active partner for this is the Creation Care Research Institute that operates at Pázmány University. Now, the Catholic University seeks to react to these external experiences with this specific research institute, just like the professor mentioned before me. The papal bullas and encyclicals keep explaining what the protection of creation means, how biblical teachings and environmental protection and the protection of life can be put under the same hood. Just like János Szilágyi mentioned, we published 11 volumes, but this is somewhat an odd one out. We have been publishing very strictly scientific volumes in Hungarian and English. And to be honest, I consider it to be just as important to communicate in the form of tales about important topics that can draw the attention of people to these issues. Now, those groups of problems with which we have to disseminate knowledge in a scientific way when we publish books, actually all of that is featured here in the form of books. When it comes to the loss of biodiversity, the non-sustainable consumer habits, how students and children could be prompted to take good care of their own created world, that it could ensure a sustainable future even for them. I believe that that's the reason why these books are very important to be published. So these are foreign language books. We had a Hungarian version, now we have the English version as well as the French version published. Of course, with L'Harmattan, because of the French background, we would like to receive the permission to distribute the books in French as well. But the point is, I can state that if the French version is published at the mother company, we will organize a book launch event for János in Paris as well. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Director. It is a true honor to welcome our next speaker, the driving force behind the original Hungarian edition, who has given us the opportunity to hold these books in our hands in English and French. It is with great pleasure that I now invite Mrs. Marianna Barcsák, Director of the Catholic Pedagogical Institute, to deliver her speech. Dear Director, please.
Klári néni feladta Házinak, hogy segítsünk másokon.
Ms. Jones gave us homework to teach us how to help others and to keep building creation. She pointed out that this wasn't a competition, and we don't have to put other people down, and we won't get extra points for that. But instead, we have to try and notice the opportunities that God made for us. This is the point of the game. We are all irreplaceable, and nobody can do the good instead of us. What the Creator called you here to do. Ms. Jones said that for people who live like this, it's an adventurous life. So actually, the words of János Lackfi perfectly express why we so deeply wished for this story to come into being, a story that hand in hand with word illustrations is now published. Now, the Catholic Pedagogical Institute, which I have the honor to lead, serves as the professional background institution for Catholic-maintained kindergartens and schools. In 2023, we joined the project of the Institute for Creation Protection, and we put together a program designed to reach out to the students and teachers and leaders of Catholic institutions, and students, also young kindergarten students. Over the past 2 years, more than 10,000 kindergarten children and pupils And nearly 2,000 teachers have taken part in one or more of our activities, may it be a training session, competition, contest, creation, protection day, and through these they have become familiar with the message of Laudato Si. From the very beginning, our goal was not to include them only merely for a couple of projects or some days, but the issue of creation and the protection of our environment would be in their life, present on a continuous basis. And we also wanted to have a genuine change inspired in people's attitude. We hope that everyone we reached would change just a little and they would actually implement that in their everyday life. Now, how did this book come about? As a tangible and lasting means of passing on the message of Laudato Si, the idea of the creation story was born. This is how this tale of creation was made. We wanted to find an author who can naturally speak in the language of children and who can address these very difficult and challenging topics. We were utterly grateful that János Lackfi accepted our invitation, even though, just like the words of Borbála Szekkel, my colleague said, an old friend of his, actually those words from Borbála helped tip the balance. When we first received his manuscript, we didn't even stand up from our desks. We were devouring the words with ever-growing smiles. Already back then we knew, and even now we know, that it's not only the little boy who is seeking the Creator's treasures and mysteries, but through him there are many, many children in Catholic kindergartens and schools. We wanted to have a tantamountably high-quality artistic illustrator for delivering this message to the children. Now, as a parent and as a grandmother, we went through different books, and this is how we discovered Hajni Simonides, whose work evokes good childhood memories. Thank you for her excellent work. Today, the Hungarian edition can be found on the shelves of Catholic kindergartens and schools. Let's hope that the English and French readers, children and adults alike, will be just as captivated by these stories as the Hungarian young children and older readers are. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Director. Ladies and gentlemen, dear distinguished, now it is time for the most important and most anticipated person of our evening. Please welcome the writer, poet, and literary translator, Mr. János Lackfi. János, please.
Szép estét, good evening, bonsoir. De maradok a magyar nyelvnél.
Stick to my Hungarian mother tongue.
És a mindennapi teremtésről szeretnék
And I will talk about everyday creation.
Csak előbb a szememet.
But first I have to find my glasses. A wise rabbi once explained in his biblical commentary that it is worth noting how God comments on the individual days of creation. When the Lord created the sun, the moon, the sea, and the dry land at the end of his working hours, the Lord looked up with satisfaction upon all he had made, and, as the scripture says, God saw that it was all good. Likewise, when he called forth the plants, each according to their kind, nature, he again examined his work at the end of the day. Once again, we read that God saw that it was good, which means that, in other words, in every case, God declares his opinion that what has come into being is truly good. That is to say, each created being is both functional and, in its own measure, a faithful reflection of the cosmic and divine order. In short, every creature, animal, plant, stone, tree, celestial body carries its functionality within itself. There is no inner division of intent. The cassowary, as far as we know, never agonizes over balancing workplace expectations and family demands. The royal penguin does not wrestle for weeks with moral dilemmas about whether to follow its emotions or society's expectations in difficult situations. Rarely does a colored dove lie on the therapist's couch to analyze with professional guidance how best to process the trauma of seeing a snake devour its unhedged siblings. As far as modern knowledge tells us, though animals and plants are bound together by complex networks of communication and mysterious instincts, we can indeed say of them that they are good, for they fulfill their purpose without hesitation. The monkey, when it commits an act of cannibalism, it does not do so out of greed or senseless bloodlust, but as one of its available survival strategies. That's it. The stag does not condemn its rival to a painful death out of malice, but because a genetic mutation has deformed its antlers, and in the ritual yearly battle for rank, it fatally wounds its opponent. The lion does not slaughter more prey than it can eat, and it does not cure, dry, and sell the meat for profit. It's not saving up for a new Maserati to add to its fleet of 30. It eats until its belly is full, then lies contents in the shade until hunger strikes again. Of course, we all know about Aesop and Gáspár Heltai, the Hungarian fable writer, those instructive online stories that illustrate how noble-hearted our four-legged and feathered friends can be compared to us, yet these are all external projections. No animal acts under the influence of compulsory ethics or religion classes. Rather, its instinct and the laws of communal existence dictate what it does and how it does it. Still, we may well envy the wondrously coordinated movements, for example, of migratory birds. You have surely seen hundreds of thousands of starlings moving through the sky like the cells of a single body, forming acrobatic shapes in perfect harmony, guided by an inner compass and aligned with a grand design they do not and cannot comprehend. I have often imagined what such a cloud of birds would look like if it were made up of people. Doubtless, self-fulfilling individualists would soon come tumbling down from the sky. Ouch! Stop flapping, you idiot! Who did you even vote for, you sheep? I hate know-it-all likes you. You hit my wing. Can't you look where you are going? Are you even sane, uncivilized, loud? Where on earth did you go to school, you moron? You are yada yada. I think we have all witnessed this kind of chaos, if not in the skies, then certainly on the streets or in the comment sections of the internet. Now let's return to the biblical text and observe the creation of man. Here the divine summary differs from the previous days. We no longer read, and God saw that it was good. Instead, we receive a comprehensive conclusion. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And for the human being, in particular God, one might say wisely and diplomatically, God remains silent. He refrains from any hasty declaration. The rabbi explained that this is simply because it cannot be said offhand that man is good, nor, despite all bitter experience and Vörösmarty's somber words, man is the seed sown from dragon's teeth. There is no hope, no hope. Can it be said that he is bad? No, actually the human being is not inherently good or evil, but rather has the capacity to be one or the other. or both. At every moment, he has the freedom to decide which part of his soul he will connect to. According to Hebrew tradition, we are capable of activating 5 levels of soul within us. And the psalmist writes, God made man a little lower than angels. Our highest soul level, the neshama, the divine spark, enables us to act with almost the same goodness as God himself, as if we were purely angelic beings. This is what happens when, for example, Father Maximilian Kolbe steps out of line in a concentration camp and offers his life in exchange for that of a father of 5, or when Sister Sára Salkaházi does not flee but walks willingly into her death to be shot into the Danube alongside the Jewish people she was hiding. It also happens in the much less extreme moments of our everyday life, whenever we are able to put aside our ego, self-interest, and choose a solution that is kinder, nobler, and closer to the heart. Another Jewish theologian beautifully explained the deepest meaning of an embrace. When we embrace someone, it is as if we are saying the following: I love your whole being, not just your humor, your beautiful face, your intelligence, or your eloquence. I love all of you. I place my hand on your back to show that I love even that part of you that does not truly deserve my love. It's your back. And above all, I embrace you so that you know I love you, not merely your finest qualities. This calm and joyful decision of love, and of quote, I believe is what creation care should also be about. Not dividing creation into the useful and the useless, but embracing everything, what environmental protection, social work, worldwide management, and humanitarian efforts usually handle separately. For as human beings, we are neither inherently good nor evil. No label is pinned to us, no brand is burned into our skin to define us once and for all. We are constantly facing the choice whether we become more like angels or to act even more instinctively and cruelly than animals. The spirit of creation care unites the animal, plant, mineral, and human worlds, exercising that divine right which makes humankind a co-creator. Creation is unfinished, precisely because we have been invited to complete it every single day. If an animal species is endangered, humans can choose to protect it. If a landscape has been laid waste by greed through the effort of many volunteers, it can once again become a forest. If an acquaintance is in need, we can do some shopping for them or simply offer our presence, our attention to them. We can sit by their bedside, cut their hair if they wish, go for a bicycle ride with them, or we can read them from a book. And this is not some sentimental charity done to make ourselves feel noble, but a simple yet momentous act of will, choosing between good and evil with the authority entrusted to us. That is how our world becomes better or worse. That is what my storybook, The Secret of the Parrotfish, is about, a book that to my joy is now used in many schools. I'm grateful that it could be published in 2 major foreign languages as well. From the depth of my heart, I want to thank everyone who took part in this work, as illustrators, translators, organizers, coordinators, and anyone who contributed in any way. Thank you.
Thank you, János. Before the author's dedication, we would like to treat you to a musical performance. During and after the dedications, you are warmly invited to enjoy some refreshments. But for now, please welcome Mr. Dávid Fátyol, a violinist from the Bartók Conservatory. Dávid, please.